What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mind and Muscle Show with your host, Adrian Moreno. And I hope you're having yourself an absolutely beautiful day. And if your day's not going so beautiful, then hopefully this episode will make that just a little bit easier. Because today is really all about, making your emotional life a lot easier and, not having such an emotional heavy life. Such a heavy emotional life. And when I say heavy, you all know that feeling whenever you just feel really bogged down. And it's like something's weighing you down and you can physically feel it, but there is really nothing weighing you down. Energy is just getting dense, And this is normal. That's the thing. This is an absolutely normal phenomenon. This is called an emotion. And for some reason, emotions are something that we don't really know what to do with. Like, we don't really know how to use them. Or it really seems that way. Like, it's kind of like your emotional life is just happening to you. Like, it's like an external force that's coming inward and pushing against you and making you feel like the world is on your shoulders. You see, this happens to human beings. I totally understand that. So first, this is not to belittle anybody's situation. Please understand that first. This is not to belittle anybody's situation. This is just to really point out what it means to be human on an emotional level. You see, and I know I've talked about this before, but if you look at the word emotion, it's just energy in motion. All right? So when you understand that an emotion is just energy in motion, you will start to understand that emotion is just a vibration. It's a pure vibration of energy. So energy cannot be created and it can't be destroyed. That's already known, right? So when you understand that the very thing that makes up everything that is cannot be created or cannot be destroyed. That I struggle with wrapping my head around sometimes because it's like, what? But anyways, that's just the mind that is thinking in sequential time from left to right or front to back, right? But anyways, or back to front, right? That would be how it is. But since energy can't be created or destroyed, why are we so busy trying to hide our emotions or shove them away with the hopes that they'll be destroyed and just be gone? The only reason we would ever do that is because we're just ignorant to what is. And ignorant does not mean anything disrespectful. This is an innocent ignorance. You didn't come in here with, you really did. You did come in here with all the knowledge, everything you ever needed, really. But you just get conditioned out of that. And when you get conditioned out of that, when your analytical mind can't sit there and say, no, I'm not going to choose to believe that. I'm going to choose to believe something else. When that mind just soaks everything in, that's innocence on your part. You're not responsible for the way that you were programmed. But you are responsible for reprogramming it and consciously creating your own. Create your own programs. Just understand that you actually can. And the fact that you can rewire the mind is a very clear demonstration of the fact that there is a space between you and your mind. Not literally, but you can experience this. And so when you understand that the mind is something that you can program, just like I can, well, I don't know how to, but somebody can come in here and program on my computer and do something, right? It's like a subject and an object. So clearly, there is something you can do with it. Now, I know I just went on a little tangent on like reprogramming the mind and everything. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, all right, dude, you're going to go on a whole nother thing. So let's just save that for another day. But I guess that's just the energy that's coming out. So next, I mean, not next, back to what we were talking about. Since we are not aware of the fact that our emotions are just energy, just a vibration. I mean, now we are. And even though you're aware of it now, it's like we still don't know how to really process an emotion. We were never taught what a feeling was and how to actually feel it. Imagine if that was a subject in school. Imagine if in pre-K, before you learned anything about numbers, anything about letters, or any of that, imagine if you learned what a feeling was, or not learned, but you were guided to remind yourself of what a feeling is and how to actually feel it. Just imagine that. Imagine how much different life would be right now if we learned how to actually feel through everything that comes through us, because it does come through you. And when I say come through you, again, don't take this in a very literal way. You do create it. It does radiate from you. But it's a vibration of energy that if you just left it alone, it would run its natural course. Because energy cannot be stagnant. That's like another law of energy. It cannot be stagnant. It has to be moving. It has to be like, movement. That's energy. That's life. It's movement. And stillness in the same way. Isn't reality freaking beautiful? Like, oh my Lord, it's mind-blowing. But anyway. And so, since energy cannot be stagnant, whenever you do suppress an emotion, all it's going to do is cause havoc in the system. And it's going to disrupt the flow. And now it's no longer at ease, that's dis-ease. And this is why doctors have a lot of trouble with chronic ailments. Because chronic ailments are not created strictly through the body, strictly medical. They're created from our own thinking. So one of the most healthiest things you can possibly do is actually feel an emotion whenever they come. And the thing is you're always feeling. Right now you're feeling. You're always feeling. You feel your way through life. So if you're sitting here feeling your way through life, then why were we never taught how to feel a feeling? If it's one of the healthiest things you can possibly do, why didn't nobody ever show us how to do it? Clearly, it is the most significant thing you can possibly do is manage and process through emotions. There's no need to manage it. You don't want to bottle up all these emotions within yourself and have to manage them. You want to let them go. You want to process through them. And one of the fundamental keys to actually feeling an emotion is not identifying with it or not claiming it. Not saying things like, I am depressed. right? My name is, I can sit here and say, I am Adrian. I'm identifying with that name. I am me. Whenever you say I am something, that is a form of identification with something. When you say I am depressed, you are making depression you. If you are depression, how do you get out of it? If you're it, anywhere you go, there's you. So instead of identifying with emotions, it's just like, I notice the depression. We're not going to sit here and just say, I'm not depressed and just completely ignore what's going on. Better, I mean, it's going to take me on a whole nother tangent, but what's the point of even naming emotions? Why do you got to label it? It's just a vibration of energy. Did you know fear and excitement are the same exact things? On a biological level, the chemistry of fear and excitement is the same exact thing. The only thing that changes is your label. Whatever label you attach to it changes your perception of it, which changes your experience of it. So fundamentally, at the core, they literally are just vibrations. Why would you identify with it? Right? That's the first thing. The next thing, one of the next most important things when it comes to being able to feel it, of actual feeling and feel it all the way through, is also not claiming it, not saying my anxiety, my anger, my sadness, my happiness. I know, trust me, my happiness too. Like, even that. Just break this habit of identifying and claiming emotions. There's really no need for it. And it doesn't do you any good. Because even if you identify with the good emotions, again, good emotions, you set yourself up for one bumpy ride. One bumpy ride. So imagine if you were okay with every feeling that was present. Imagine if you were okay when every feeling was present. Imagine if you weren't angry that you were angry. Have you ever been angry at the fact that you were angry? Like, it's like you see how much drama we add to these vibrations of energy? We attach an entire dramatization around what an emotion is. We give it characters, we give it stories, we give it just so much of our unnecessary grasping of it, of our attachment. I don't want to say like be detached from them, because no, like you want to be completely involved with them. That's how you actually let them pass, is being involved with it, becoming one with it. By not being the observer or not being the actual subject. Like, instead, being both at the same time. And I know that sounds a little illogical, but at the end of the day, what the hell is logical? So I don't even know what logical is. See, we got different ideas of what logical is. So we can do away with logic too. Just common sense. And when I say common sense, I mean common sense through experience. A sensual experience. And don't let your mind be dirty with the word sensual, okay? I'm talking about the actual being able to be fully involved with it with all of your senses and just being there with it. You never see the sky mad at the cloud for being there. Whether it's a pretty cloud or a ugly. Well, what the hell is a pretty or an ugly cloud? You can never look at a cloud and tell me, oh my God, that cloud is just ugly. That cloud is, I cannot believe that cloud is right there. Who does that cloud think they are? Like, you don't get mad. I mean, the sky doesn't get mad at that. The sky doesn't get mad when it rains. The sky doesn't get mad when it's windy. The sky doesn't get mad when it's snowing. The sky doesn't get mad when it's, hot and it's really, the sun's out. It doesn't even get attached when the sun's out. The sky just lets everything be exactly as it is without adding its own influence on them. Rather, it's just allowing them to be as they are and fully pass. Imagine if the sky held on to clouds, held on to all the clouds. Imagine that. Each cloud was a thought. And imagine the sky held on to all of them. Imagine how freaking dark it'd be right now. We wouldn't be able to see the sun. There'd be so much damn clouds. So once you just kind of wrap your mind around that, around the fact that an emotion is just a vibration of energy that passes through you exactly like weather passes through the sky. And the thing is, whenever it's raining, whenever it's sunny, whenever it's snowing, the sky doesn't change. It's the same exact sky. But we talk about the sky like it's a limited thing. When you actually look at the sky, there really is no sky. It's just the rest of the freaking universe to what our eyes can see. At least as far as we can see. But we don't know what the sky actually is. It's because it's infinite, untouched, liberated. In fact, it is liberation. If the sky is liberation, and all kinds of weather just pass through it, and it remains untouched, and you have emotions that pass all the way through you, some do, and you can be untouched. You've experienced this. You've definitely experienced being untouched by an emotion. And when I say untouched, I don't mean like untouched in the way like you don't feel the emotion. Instead, whenever I say untouched, I mean you don't hold on to it. And you don't bottle it up. Bottle it up. Bottle it up. You don't bottle it up. But you don't bottle the emotion up. You don't store it away. You don't throw it in the corner. Untouched as in it just goes straight through. And runs its natural course. Because if it doesn't, and if you try to bottle it up, remember, emotion is energy, and energy cannot be stagnant. So it stays within your system. Movement, it stays in your system, just not stagnant. So it's not still. It's active. It's alive. This is exactly why we get illnesses that make us feel dead, but the illness is alive. Emotions can cause havoc on your physical state if you do not let them go through. So, I know you're just used to hearing the health industry talking about, hey, eat better and move a little bit more. Eat a little bit less and move a little bit more, and you'll be healthy. That's cool. That's great. You should definitely eat a little bit less and move a little bit more. Eat less in the terms of eat less of the bullshit and more of the good shit. Okay? That stuff's good. You see, but you see how materialistically focused we are. We're very outward focused. And so we only focus on outward things whenever we're talking about health. But health, and when I say health, I mean health is way more than your weight, your image, your blood work. It's everything. Your emotional state has a strong, very strong influence on the physical body. Your mind can create every kind of illness your mind can possibly conceive of. Because the mind is what perceives an emotion as dangerous. The mind is what perceives an emotion as something that needs to be hidden from the world. So it is the mind that can create every illness you can attach a label to. But if it can create it, it can absolutely undo it. And this is this is very common. It is like extreme. Of course it doesn't seem common because it's not being talked about in mainstream media, but it is very common for people to heal physical ailments through using the mind to shift the perspective on certain emotional dents in our system or emotional disturbances. The mind just goes to that emotional disturbance, shifts its perspective on it, and allows it to pass. That is healing yourself. So hopefully I've piqued your interest enough in wanting to start managing your... See, I'm falling into that managing shit. Excuse my language, but it is shit, managing. You don't need to manage them, all right? You don't need to manage them. Remember that. So, a really good way to feel your emotions is breathing through it, of course. Breathing through it is my top recommendation. There's definitely certain breathing patterns that allow an emotion to pass much more effortlessly than trying to analyze the emotion and make sense of it with your mind. Way more easier. You should really try it. So there's multiple breathing patterns that can do this. Just go on YouTube, go on Google, look up breath work for stress, you would literally find so many certain breathing patterns. One of the ones that I've been using for at least 2 years, it's kind of like you keep it in your back pocket. I've been practicing it for a good while, just consciously and it gets to the point where you just, remind yourself unconsciously to consistently implement this really little technique. And it doesn't cost much, and you don't got to pop it and swallow it. And it eases anxiety. It eases stress and it eases all of that. And it's just box breath. Box breath is, I'm sure I know there are so many different patterns. But box breathing is one of the best ways for me personally. And it's just four in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out through my nose. And it's a nice little breathing pattern. So give that a shot. But breathing through it. And I once heard somebody say, you can't just breathe through an emotion. That's kind of like ignoring it. I was like, even though I knew this was my mind saying this, I was like, that's your mind saying that. Let's leave the emotion alone. And how can you possibly ignore an emotion if you're breathing through an emotion when breath happens in this moment and emotions happen in this moment also? If emotions and breath happen at the same exact time in this moment, doesn't breathing through an emotion completely involve you in that emotion? That completely engrosses you and merges you into oneness with that emotion, so it just naturally passes. It's a very beautiful way to go about it. And another way that's one of my favorites that really again, guys, look, I'm not here an emotional intelligence expert and attaching, I'm not here as that. I'm here to remind you of what you forgot about your emotions and give you a couple of tricks that have personally helped me tremendously. And this way it's easily one of the most profound ones for me because of how quickly it works. And it's dope. All right. So basically, I got the idea from this monk. I forgot his name, but I was watching a video and it was like a form of meditation that they did to get through their depression or get through anxieties and stuff like that. And it's basically, you see the emotion. You feel the emotion, and there's no need to label it. There's no need to do all of that. But what you want to do is you just want to close your eyes and go within yourself and imagine go to the location of the emotion, because you can feel the location of certain emotions. So you want to feel that location. You want to close your eyes and you want to go within yourself to that location. And when I say close your eyes, and when I say go within yourself, I don't mean you have to see it. You just have to imagine it. Imagining it is enough. Just imagining it is enough. You do not have to, I can't visually go within myself and see visually. I can't see that. Everybody can visualize. All right. Talking is visualize. Like, it's a form of visualizing. Like, if I say, I just want to beat this person up and, punch them in the face. You get an idea of what I want to do to somebody. That's visualizing. So understand that everybody can visualize. Okay, I can go on an entire tangent on that, but we're just not going to do that right now. Somebody stop me. I stopped myself. Great. So I've been told I should be a comedian. Look, guys, I'm just going off track, going on a tangent again. I'm sorry. Now I completely lost my train of thought. Actually, no, I didn't. I was talking about the emotion. I really did lose my train of thought, but I got it now. But so you just go within yourself and you go to the location of the emotion. And then you just visualize again, or just imagine, that word's better. Imagine the person you love the most, or the person that brings the most love out of you. The one you can just close your eyes and think of their name and see their face, and immediately your heart just eases out. Whether that be your children, whether that be your partner, whether that be your friends, whether that be anybody that brings that emotion out of you. Even if it's, like one of your favorite movie stars or one of your favorite musical artists, like, people can have strong emotions towards those things, or whether it's even a pet. Pets are perfect things to use as well. And so you imagine the pet at the location of the actual emotion. So it's kind of like you're turning the emotion into your pet, or turning the emotion into your whatever it is that you love, turning the emotion into, for me, it's my nephew. If I imagine my nephew's little chubby face, for me, it's, I mean, like, I'm guessing you can use as many people as you want, but I can do, I like to do 3 people. My nephew, my grandma Shita, and my grandma Shita. I'm over here saying it like y'all guys know who she is. That's what we call her. But my grandma, and then my mom. I put their 3 faces in front of I put their 3 faces at the location of that emotion. I basically turn them into that emotion, and I automatically just want a big it's like you just feel a big urge to energetically hug the emotion. You energetically hug the emotion. And when you feel yourself doing that, because you just want to embrace that. When I see my nephew, my mom, and my grandma, I just want to put my arms around them, like hug them. It's like that feeling of instant, like, compassion. And you completely approach the energy with compassion, with its nature, with the nourishing energy that's going to nourish that energy. In other words, allow the energy to run its course. And it completely transforms the emotion just by letting it pass. That's easily one of the most profound exercises that has made my emotional life so much easier to navigate through. So much easier. And that's the only reason I'm sharing it with you. It's because it's worked for me, so there's a potential that it might work for you. And if we can navigate through our emotional life a lot easier, imagine how much further we'd go in terms of evolution. We wouldn't have so much of this fog holding us down, weighing you down. I guarantee you, if we were to just learn how to feel feelings, if we were to learn how to feel feelings, we would create an entire different world. An entire different world. There is no way around that. That would change reality as we know it. By just feeling through feelings, processing your emotions fully, expressing yourself fully. Allow your emotions to come through, my friends, please. It'll make things so much easier for you. Whatever, even if, guys, like even imagining, visualizing a swarm of energy go through you when tense emotions are present, you can literally pass the emotion quicker. You can let it pass quicker by just imagining swarms of energy going through you. For me, I hopefully you can picture this, or you can picture it because you're going to hear my thinking, right? But for me, I imagine from front to back, I imagine a swarm of energy. It's just like a swarm of something. It doesn't have a shape to it. It's not something. It's just like a swarm of energy. I just imagine it going from front, entering my body from the front, leaving it through the back. Just like going through my stomach, leaving through my back, going through my chest, leaving through my back. If I can feel the emotion heavy in my gut, in my stomach, I imagine it going through my gut and my stomach. If I feel it really like in my chest, like anxiety, I feel anxiety like really around my sternum area. I'm going to imagine that energy entering my chest, leaving my upper back. That little trick can do a lot for you. So that, my friends, is a beautiful way. But expressing your energy at every level, I mean, like being creative when you want to be creative. Like whenever I wanted to create this podcast, I actually had a podcast scheduled for tomorrow. But I just instantly got like a deep urge to, all right, make this. So I'm doing it. Expressing myself. I'm expressing my energy. I'm giving my energy an outlet. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm really getting so much better. And it's not, my external conditions are not changing. I mean, they are changing, but it's not the fact that because they're changing, I'm changing. It's not that. It's just that I'm feeling way better. And it's not due to my external conditions. It's simply due to the fact that I have been feeling my feelings so much more. I'm getting way better at it. And the reason why I'm even recording this is because I hope that it encourages you to start feeling your feelings when they come. Start laughing when you want to laugh. Smiling when you want to smile. Crying when you want to cry. Yelling when you want to yell. Dancing when you want to dance. Just being human whenever you want to be human. Having the freedom to be yourself. Having the freedom to express your energy. Having the freedom to really exist fully. And be able to experience this at its fullest. And I know navigating through your emotional state and being able to process emotions is not impossible. You know, it's definitely something, it's just a practice, and you just build that habit. You build the muscle of feeling. And I don't care how big, bad, and gangster you are. You know your ass feels some kind of way. All the time. It's a part of being human. And that's a beautiful part of being human. The variety of emotions we get to experience, the emotional dance, the colors of emotion that we get to experience. And since you're here, alive, you might as well experience them.